And here we go. We are diving into our first best of 5 series of the night. 3 of them all starting at the same time. But here we are, spawning in the bottom right hand corner for the very first time today on Romanticide LE. We have the American Terran, currently teamless. It is Dolan. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the American Zerg player. Oh, as we do get a bit of a pause. But again, for the very first time, we do have a Zerg. It is Voltz. As Dolan does have to go and get the door. Oh. Okay, we're good. So our first Zerg player of the qualifier. This will most likely be our last series that we cast. Again, the NA qualifiers are very quick just because there are so many qualifying spots. Players only have to make it to the semifinals to qualify for the closed qualifier. So a lot of spots, and again, all the qualifying matches are starting at around the same time. If you want to tune into some of the others, I don't blame you whatsoever. Currently, Eurystheus versus Trigger is being casted by Beomorph, and Starkiller versus Pure Legacy is being casted by Zombie Grub. So if you do want to tune into those series, you can. I actually don't know where Rotterdam is. I'm pretty sure Rotterdam is casting a series as well. I don't know what he's casting at the moment. I didn't see him in any of the lobbies. So I'm a little bit unsure about that one. But yes. If you want to also multi-twitch it up, you can do so as well. But we are the only ones here covering Dolan versus Voltz. 2 very strong NA competitors here. Shout out to Dolan, by the way. He's raided us a couple of times. His emotes are also ducks. Then the ducks, mate, we gotta stick together. But at the same time, I gotta give some love to my boy Voltz. Voltz, ex-player from Scythe Esports. Zerg player as well. You know, we want to see some Zergs do well here. I don't know if Starkiller has the best chances against Pure Legacy, but Voltz, mate, he's got a good chance here. Both players are relatively equal in skill. Did go for that 3rd hatchery. And so far, so good. Dolan is coming across the map with his Reaper. But again, Voltz's 3rd hatchery was a little bit earlier, so he was a little bit greedier. He was able to get it up. It does mean that his queens were a little bit delayed, so there's a chance for this Reaper to deal some damage and maybe get a worker. But right now, we'll see how good the Zergling micro is to try and keep them alive. Oh my god! Almost gets one drone. Drone just barely morphed into a spore. And just barely manages to escape with its life. So far, the Ling micro has been pretty good. Like, he's been able to zone out the Reaper well enough to even keep it away from the creep tumor. I love it. And Voltz, he secures his 3rd. Of course, Dolan, he knows. He scouts it. He sees the 3rd with his Reaper. He's well aware. I'm sure at some point he would want to dive in just in case, just to keep an eye on the gas counts, to see if there are any shenanigans. Maybe even an Evo chamber behind the mineral line. But at the moment, he's content here at the 3rd. He even scouts that a drone popped out from one of these eggs. So that does kind of indicate a little bit, hey, for the most part, you're focusing on your economy. Like, it's fine. Oh my god, the Reaper does try to dive in, but just barely manages to escape again. And Dolan going for a 1-1-1 opening. A little bit awkward here. I assumed that he would switch the starport with the racks and get the tech lab on it. And he did half of that. He switched the racks out. He did not put the starport on, and he's instead going for a Liberator. I don't know if maybe he originally planned to go for like a Banshee, and then in the end, like last moment, he changed his mind, and it's like, well, I already have a tech lab, so there's not much point going for it now. Instead, he's going for his Liberator, gets another tech lab on the racks. I imagine he's still going to go for the switch. This looks like he wants to go for a Raven. But we'll see what he decides to dedicate with this tech lab on the starport. I assume that we're going to see any moment now. Please, Pop, please. Meanwhile, Liberator is going across the map. We have plenty of Hellions as well, so he could go for some multi-prong, right? You know, you could set up the Liberator here to try and distract the Queens. If the Queens get distracted, then the Hellions can dive into one of the mineral lines, whether it's the third base or the natural. So Voltz has to be very careful with how he splits up his army. He has to be careful and make sure he has plenty of lings to catch those Hellions as well. Ooh. As at the moment the Hellions do get swatted away by the Queens. The Liberator does siege up, does get the attention of the Queens, but again, like, there's still plenty of lings here. The Queens dive in, sorry, the lings dive in, and the Hellions do not manage to get up the ramp, but the Liberator is dealing even more damage. I just realized we don't have WCS Game Heart. I'm going to exclamation mark full nada the players after this game and make sure we do get WCS Game Heart for the next one. But yeah, 4 drones went down and a Queen. Not bad for a Lib. Not bad at all. Meanwhile, okay, he did go for the switch, but not with the starport. Instead, he went for the switch with the factory. I imagine going for tanks. The first tank is already out, and the third CC is done as a part of the wall. So yeah, pretty standard so far. Oh my god. Meanwhile, we do see another pause here. Dolan is very popular, you know. He got his food ordered to his house, and I guess he got dessert from another place. So, you know, Uber Eats, they just keep showing up. But mate, Terran players, they gotta eat, okay? Oh boy. As the players do get ready, there we go. Go is called. And what's important is that Dolan was able to keep all these Hellions alive. Obviously, he can use them for a bit of a run-by later on, but what's important is that they can still be a part of the main army to help buffer for some banelings. If an army gets thrown down, they can be morphed into Hellbats and help support those Marines and the tanks, and honestly, it can make a significant difference. But here we go, the third base is landed, and we do see Dolan, he did prioritize the Evo chambers, he did prioritize his upgrades, his 1-1 is on the way, as well as Baneling speed, so he's being a little bit safe, and eventually he does throw down the Spire. So it's not as early as he could have gone for it. He could have been a little bit greedier, skipped a bunch of tech and gone for it ASAP, but he is still getting it regardless. Does want to go Ling Bane Muta. And this is what we want to see, to be honest, right? We want to see Ling Bane Muta here against Bio. We want to see the splits. We want to see the Widowmine shots, or, you know, the micro against them. What is a little bit scary is that Dolan hasn't scattered this. He has scattered very little, to be honest. He hasn't gone for a scan quite yet. He needs to know this is coming so he can throw down some missile turrets, so he can make sure that he doesn't die to a Muta flyby. And that's the worst feeling in the world. When mutas show up and you're just unprepared and they just eviscerate a mineral line. It's terrifying, and sometimes it does happen. Meanwhile, we do see a bit of a drop here in the center of the map. He does confirm that Baneling speed is complete. Does clear up a little bit of creep, but he does get forced back. So again, he knows about the Ling Bane. If he dives in a couple of seconds and clicks on the units, he will also see 1-1 complete, but he still has not seen the mutas. Oh my god. As the Marines will just barely get picked up. Oh, actually drops once again here. Does waste a Baneling connection. Wastes another. Oh my god. The value. 3 Marines for 2 Banelings? It's not bad. And now he will dive in. The mutas are already coming out though, and the mutas may reveal themselves to take down these medevacs. So that is a bit of a win for Dolan. There we go. The mutas are here. Oh god, he does pick up, but one of the medevacs is so low, can he barely escape with it? Oh god, just barely, but no, he does not manage to land all of his Marines. The medevac does go down, half full, and this will get cleaned up. Thankfully, this is buying Dolan a little bit of time. I mean, sure that the drops are getting cleaned up, but he should be able to throw down some missile turrets and be prepared. Should be prepared. Where, buddy? Where are the missile turrets? I mean, I guess it won't matter if the mutas are just a part of the main army. And at the moment they are. Meanwhile, ooh, a couple of mutas do run into the Marines. A bit of unfortunate pathing. Voltz just hasn't had an opportunity to really, you know, segment them off and just go for a bit of a run by. They're still here trying to defend against the push. Meanwhile, Dolan is pushing on forward. This is a little bit risky. He does have 4 tanks, but he's on siege. He's on siege, puppy, please. The leads get on top of them, and he does get us around. It looks like all these tanks will fall, as well as the Marines, and just all things Terran, mate. Aye. The Ling Bane does keep on going forward. There are only a handful of Banelings left, but you know what? They do not get focused down by the tanks. There is some decent Marine micro, but mate, there's just not enough here, and it looks like Voltz is just going to keep on going. He has so much momentum. I mean, sure, there are missile turrets here, but after losing that main army, GG gets called. And Voltz takes game number 1. GG, and that was just a really bad place for Dolan to be. Like he pushed out, he pushed out with like a decent army, but again, he was unsieged, he was surrounded. At least he wasn't in creep, to be fair. He was just outside of it, but yeah, just a really unfortunate place to fight. Really unfortunate indeed. As we are getting ready for game number 2. As someone asked in the chat, is Voltz Idreling? Yes, he is. Voltz, he's gone by many names. he's had a little bit of an identity crisis over the past couple of years, just going from ID to ID to ID. Shout out to Senor Fecho in the chat. Casted him a couple of times. As we are getting ready for game number 2. Again, this is the best of fine. Best of fine? As I just read fine in the chat. This is the best of 5. Where is my crew please? We are not getting crew pleases today. Crow is about to go to bed as it is past midnight in the land of Europe. But because this is a best of 5, you know, there is still plenty of time for Dolan to get back into this. So I ask Dolan to remake. Please, yes. Phew. They made the lobby, but it did not have WCS Game Heart, so we will just remake that. Just a bit of time to appreciate the people in the chat. Ooh, Cristiano is here as well. Shout out to Cristiano, shout out to Samo, sidekick. Oh, and here we go. Just letting the players know that we are ready, and we are going to be diving into 2,000 atmospheres LE. What a massacre. Yeah, it was just a bad place to be. Oh boy. It's also a shame because, again, because of how late it was scouted, like Dolan, he didn't really have time to switch into Widowmine production. He was kind of stuck with what he had. To be fair, like, he could have stayed at home, but at the same time, is that really something that you want to do against a Zerg player? You want to be active out on the map, you want to be denying creep as best you can, you want to be trading, you want to be dropping. And there weren't that many mutas, but in the end, GG did get called, and now finally our players are ready, and we are going to be diving into game number 2. Dolan, can he bring it back? Can he do it for all the Terrans out there? We shall see. As spawning in on 2,000 atmospheres LE, we have in the bottom left hand corner the American Terran player. He is green. He is Dolan. And spawning in the top right hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres LE, we have the American Zerg player. He is red, representing himself as well. Some know him as Idriling, others know him as Cicada, but he is Voltz. And he is getting proxy raxed. Let's go, as two SCVs are out here on the map, immediately going for the third base location. Voltz, he is scouting. He does send his Overlord to the south, just in case there's a proxy here. And he does have his Overlord queued up. Ooh, is this too far though? Will he spot this with the rally? He may just barely catch a glimpse of it. It's not going to see the edge, but maybe it's enough. God, mate, it's all on you. The hope. It's just everything that Voltz stands for rests on your shoulders, Overlord. Can you spot this? Can you get it? Can you see? Open your eyes. Give him some goddamn binoculars. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like he'll see it, right? He'll spot it, yeah? Yeah, totally. He sees the SCV, and he spots both Raxes just barely. And Dolan knows he got spotted. And Dolan immediately sends out his SCVs. He wants to throw down some Raxes. Meanwhile, we have one drone pulled here for Voltz. Surprising, to be honest. Usually you pull a couple more. Oh god, one of the drones already almost going down. Now he only has two more drones, and it's kind of too late. Usually you pull like half the mineral line. Finally, he reacts. But again, like, just a little bit delayed. He does throw down the spine. Here we go. Here come the rest of the workers. Going to try and zone out the Marines from that bunker. Interesting choice, by the way. He's focusing down the bunker, not the SCV. And the drones are going down. Honestly, I really don't like this response by Voltz. It's just not working out. He's just losing more and more drones. Like, this is disastrous. Oh my god. And the bunker is done, and one of the Marines gets in. It looks like the links are going to be enough. And there's only one Marine in the bunker. The spine is about to finish up, so he will deal with this, but he lost a lot of drones. There it is. Voltz holds, but did he survive? Voltz down to 10 workers as opposed to the 18 of Dolan. He does have a spine and a queen, so he shouldn't die anytime soon, right? Like, these Marines should have a very hard time breaking this position. And we are going to get into a longer game, but Dolan has dealt enough damage where he's in a pretty good place. And I guess if you're Dolan, I guess all you care about is the fact that the game will go on, right? It's like, oh, okay, I didn't die. It wasn't the best hold by any means. It wasn't perfect, but it was good enough, I guess. We'll find out if it was good enough. As he's just droning up, he's trying to catch up. He's still behind in workers, but we do have link speed on the way, at least. So that will be finishing up shortly. The lanes of Voltz get across the map. He just confirms, hey, you're making a CC. You are expanding. You're not committing to one base play. And the game will progress from here. Even coming in with his Raxa scout, kind of like an Overlord, and you know, he sees, hey, there's no extra gases, there's no like fast lair coming out here for Voltz or anything crazy like that. Everything's pretty standard. Meanwhile, Dolan is the one doing something a little bit cheeky here. We have a sneaky fusion core being thrown down behind the mineral line, so we're going to see some BCs coming out here for Dolan, and this is terrifying. This could be game ending. We do have a second queen on the way, which is great, but we need some more queens. I mean, Voltz cannot let up on that queen production, otherwise he will not have enough anti-air to deal with the BC. Meanwhile, he's going across the map with his Lings, but there are enough Marines here to deal with this. The Hellions get dropped. Yeah, with the Hellions, the Lings cannot find any damage. We almost have a full wall off, even goes across the map with his Hellions. Fusion Core finishes up, and we should see the BC start any moment now. Oh boy, oh boy. Here we go. We have a third queen on the way. 3 queens, pretty good. Still no spores. But when he gets up to 4 queens, he should be okay, especially if he saves energy for transfuse. Again, though, what's scary is that he hasn't scouted his opponent. He does have an Overlord in position, but because of the awkward beginning of the game. Like, he doesn't really have enough resources to spend on things like pneumatized carapace, on things like overlord speed. Oh my god, all the lanes get cleaned up. And oh god, the Hellions, forget about the BC, the Hellions get into the mineral line. Oh my god, forces all the drones off the line. And 8 workers go down, mate. He can even drop into the natural. Oh my god, this is already disastrous. Nice placement of the Evo chamber, I guess. But the Hellions, they escape in the medevac. There are still only 3 queens. The BC, it's about to finish up. We'll see if he waits for Yamato to finish, but GG gets called. Dolan takes game 2. Ay, ay, ay. And we are going into game 3. We are tied up. Oh god, I just want to say that Rax defense was just not, it was just not good from Voltz. It was just far too much damage. Ay, ay, ay. And in the end, Voltz, he was struggling to deal with the Hellion drop. BC didn't even come into play. Didn't even get across the map. Game just ended. Oh, oof, that was a rough one. But now, you know, hopefully he's able to shake that off as we are getting into game number 3. And this will be on Beckett Industries. Meanwhile, shout out to Rob in the chat. I believe Rob from production, Kappa. As he used to be called back in the root days. Ooh, Smile, aka Fuego, is also in the chat, representing Peru. Meanwhile, here we go. Halo trying to cheer for his boy. Here we go. We are in game number 3 of this best of 5 qualifying match. And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the American Terran. He's green. It is Dolan. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Beckett Industries LE, we have the American Zerg player. He is blue. He is Voltz. Really rough game number 1. And on Beckett Industries, honestly, I assumed maybe we would see an early pool. Like, Beckett Industries does kind of lend towards that early aggression, whether it's early pools, whether it's 2-base play, whether it's roach pushes. These speed zones and the fact that this map is quite small really does impact those kinds of styles. But I'm not too sure if that's what Voltz goes for. I haven't casted Voltz in a very long time. This is the first time I'm casting him this year. We haven't been able to see him in things like NA Apprentice, so yeah, we'll see what Voltz has in store for us here. We'll see if Dolan has something else special in store for us. This time, not going for a proxy. His Rax is at home. As he is going for that SCV Scout. It does go across the map. Meanwhile, Voltz is actually checking everywhere. He's checking all over the place for proxies. He is terrified. He checks every location he can to make sure he is safe and sound. And there it is, once again, going for a bit of an earlier third. So he does get it down unmolested, right? It doesn't get bothered by the Reaper. And we'll see what both players have in store for us here as Dolan is going across the map with his Reaper. Last time he wasn't able to get any damage done. You know, he chipped away a little bit at a couple of lings, at a couple of drones. Obviously there is an opportunity here because the queen is so delayed because of that fast third. So we'll see, he does get one drone a little bit low, but it does get turned into a spore. The lings are out in time. Oh, another fast spore. And so far, no drones have gone down. Oh, he wants them though. He's diving back in. Oh, thinks better of it. Even forces a spore. Jukes out his opponent. Keck W, not Rob from production. Okay. Another Rob. My mistake. I'm sorry. All you Robs look alike to me, especially when you're en route. Oh, God. But the Reaper does manage to escape. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to deal too much damage, but he did force 3 spores, which is something, as we can see in the resources lost. 54 minerals. That's a lot, right? Kappa. Ooh, and the Reaper will sneak into the main. Yep, there we go. Does sneak into the main base. Yep, confirms no extra gases, confirms how much mining there is, the drone counts. He's feeling pretty good about himself. And he will be able to escape. Meanwhile, across the map, we do see a 1-1-1. Once again, no early CC before starport or anything crazy like that. Any kind of incredibly economic focused opening, and it'd be really risky to try and do that on Beckett Industries, so I don't blame him. And this time he does go for a Banshee. Oh my. And he still wants to go for BCs as well after this. The Banshee does begin, but we do have a fusion core behind the mineral line. Ooh, the Overlord is diving in though, and it looks like it will spot the fusion core. There we go. It's got plenty of room, plenty of time to do so. Spots the fusion core before it even finishes. Now, is Dolan going to go for a big brain play and cancel the fusion core? I don't know if it's worth doing that. It probably isn't worth doing that, to be fair. But Voltz has all the information he needs. He should have enough queens. He should have enough spores. He should prepare himself for the BC. The battle cruiser, if you will. Meanwhile, the Hellions are trying to poke in. They do run into the queens here, but they do get pushed away. Meanwhile, they actually dive into the third, but they don't find an opportunity quite yet. Oh, actually going to the natural. Yo, the queens! They were not here, and they forced all the drones off the line. Oh my god, this is too much damage! 15, and the entire mineral line goes down! Oh my god, queens! There were like 2 or 3 queens just kind of chilling here on the edge of creep. When the Hellions came in, they did not react whatsoever. And Voltz, he just let them in. Meanwhile, the Lings do go for a bit of a run by. There's a Banshee here to defend at home. To be fair, the Banshee doesn't have the highest DPS, so it does take a while, but the Hellions do pop out just in time, force all the Lings back, and this is a disastrous start for Voltz. On top of that, BC is about to pop out. Thankfully, Voltz, because he scouted it, he does have enough queens to fight against the BC. We do see a scan in the main base. Queens are not in position. There's no creep connecting the bases either, but Voltz should be okay. Should be okay. Okay, there we go. I was like, mate, just connect the bases. Spread the goddamn creep. There we go. Creep tumor is thrown down. BC is out. And it teleports straight into the main base. Already getting 2 worker kills. Gonna get a couple more. Only 1 spore, but here we go. The rest of the queens do show up, and he should be able to focus down the BC because it did teleport in. It cannot teleport away, and the BC does fall. At the same time, though, the Hellions, they dive into the third base. Oh no, all the queens were distracted. There was nothing here to defend the middle line. Once again, another 15 drones go down. Voltz, please. Oh my god, you do not want to be a drone under Volt's command. The drones, they just keep dying. Oh god, I mean, at least he dealt with the BC, I guess. Scan gets thrown down just to make sure there's nothing crazy going on. I mean, the lair did finish up. Spire is on the way. Was the Spire scouted? Let me quickly check the vision here. Spire was not scouted. Best case scenario for Voltz. What's the anti-air situation looking like? Because the Spire hasn't been scouted, there aren't any missile turrets. There's a BC for anti-air. There's a Cyclone. A couple of Widow Mines. Maybe if they're burrowed in position, they'll be able to defend against the Mutas. Scratch that though. Never mind. Mutas are not on the way. Corruptors are on the way. It makes sense to defend against BCs, right? It makes complete sense, but unfortunately, like, that's the only thing they can really do. They aren't too versatile. I feel like your queens are enough to deal with the BCs, to be honest. Here we go, the Corruptors do pop out. BC forced to teleport. A questionable move with these Corruptors, by the way. I do think that Mutas would have been a little bit better, just because you have the opportunity to counterattack as well. I mean, missile turrets have already been thrown down, so Dolan, he's relatively fine against that kind of harassment anyway, I guess. We do see +1 ranges on the way. Roach Warren gets thrown down a little bit late, but, you know, it does get thrown down, so he does want to go Roach Ravager. Roach Ravager Corruptor. It is kind of, you know, what you want against mech. Speaking of, I didn't point it out, but we do have additional factories. Dolan is going full mech on us. We have 2 double armories as well, going for those double upgrades. Oh boy, so we could be in a longer one here. To be fair, it depends on what style of mech Dolan wants to go for. Does he want to go for that slow, sluggish tank Thor style with Vikings, or does he want to go for something a little bit more maneuverable? So far, it looks like he does want to go for Ferrari mech. He already has magfield accelerators, he's working on Blue Flame, so he's going Hellion Cyclone with a couple of BCs to support. I say a couple, literally one BC. Oh my god, no micro there at all. The BC goes down, did not get a teleport off. But this is what I was worried about. Again, there was only one BC. Like, what are these corruptors gonna do? Like, this is a lot of supply. This is a lot of money kind of wasted on these corruptors. Sure, later on they can be turned into broodlords, and sure, I guess you can kind of use caustic spray on buildings. Like, sure, there are things that they could do, but again, it's very niche, and like, what's the likelihood that you're really gonna be able to pull that off here? So at the moment, it is kind of dead supply. Oh, you know what? He kills a Banshee. Totally worth it. He got a Banshee. As the corruptors are forced back at the moment, you know, the Hellions are being taken down. The Roaches can go toe-to-toe with this army, especially on creep. I don't know about off creep though. Again, Cyclones, they can kite so well against this slow Roach army. And that is why you need Lings. I love this Voltz. He is still making Lings to help supplement his army, to help get maybe a wraparound, to lock down those Cyclones and Hellions. You definitely need some kind of buffer, because pure Roach Ravager, like, it just gets kited for days. Oh boy. Meanwhile, here comes the Ling Roach Ravager once again, trying to get around those Cyclones that he barely kind of does. Oh my god, but Widowmines go off, and the Cyclones do manage to escape to the safety of this siege line. Oh god, more Widowmines going off. To be fair, again, the Widowmines are going off on Corruptors, which isn't the biggest of deals, I guess. Like, it's not too big. It's not too bad. Oh god, but here comes Voltz. He actually catches Dolan out of position. Dolan, he had a beautiful defensive setup here at the third base, but not at the fourth, and the fourth will get biled down. Planetary was not long for this world. And sure, Dolan can push this back, but Voltz found the damage he needed. Dolan, despite having sensor towers, despite seeing the army maneuver towards the north, he was not fast enough. And that's a win that Voltz needed. He needed to deal some damage to the economy of Dolan, especially after losing so many workers early on. And now he's diving in. A couple of tanks are on siege, reducing 3 siege tanks, but you know what? They are all bunched up. We'll see how good the biles are going to be here, as a couple do land. Only 1 tank falls for now, but here we go. The other tanks are just behind them as everything gets taken out. The fourth goes down. Only 1 tank remaining, and yo, this Roach Ravager army is just pushing on forward. He's breaking through into the natural. And Dolan barely has anything left to defend. Sure, he has all this production, but he just doesn't have an army. He's only got a handful of Hellions, he's got 2 Cyclones, and that is it. And it looks like Voltz, despite having a really rocky start, was able to find the weak point in Dolan's defenses. He breaks through, now he's in the natural, the tanks are going to fall, and yeah, Voltz should be able to take this game, take this series, I should say, into game 4. A couple of tanks do pop out here in the main base. They will siege up, but I mean, the natural has fallen, mate. There we go. The biles land, the tanks fall, and what really does Dolan have left? Nothing, mate. GG's out, and Voltz takes game number 3. Off the starboard bow, I spot a BC. Just catching up on chat. 31 drones for 1 BC and some Hellions. Yeah, like that. Oh god, the drone damage was awful at the beginning of the game. It was really bad. But Voltz, you know, he didn't let it shake him. He powered on through, mate. Pulled it off. And here we go. We're diving into the next game. WCS, please. Shaking my head. The lobby will be remade. as it did not have WCS game heart. There we go, beautiful. Oh. Just waiting for the players to join. Looks like game number 4 will be on Lightshade. Oh my god, I did just get confirmation. Trigger just took down Eurystheus 3-0, and Trigger is the first player to qualify for the DreamHack NA closed qualifiers. Again, that was kind of an expected result. Unfortunately, we didn't get to cast Trigger today, but we knew that they were going on. Oh god. And we'll see if we can go from here. We may invite Biomorph as well because he is looking for a series. He did just finish casting Trigger. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're getting him in. Yep, Biomorph is joining us, just letting them know the score. We are diving into game number 4. I believe the other qualifying matches are still underway. Let me just refresh the bracket. Exclamation mark be in the chat if you want to have a look at the Liquipedia page as well as the ESL brackets. Yeah, it looks like every other series is still ongoing. But here we go. We are diving into this game. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade ALE, we have the American Terran representing himself. It is Dolan. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade ALE, we have the American Zerg player. He is blue, representing himself as well, and Zergs all over North America. It is Voltz. Currently up 2-1 in this best of 5. Again, it's a best of 5. Dolan can tie it up. He can force it into the ace match. His aggression, his harassment has been on point. But Voltz, that massive counterattack, just finding that weak point in the defense of Dolan. Not just that, I mean, the map came into play as well. It's Beckett Industry, so counterattacks hit so much faster. You have so much less time to react when they do come out across the map. So it can be really difficult for both players. So yeah, we did see how that series turned out on Beckett Industries. Now we are on Lightshade. Lightshade also has a relatively short rush distance between the two natural bases. So again, those aggressive pushes can hit pretty hard. I was also really surprised. I didn't get to talk much about it, but Dolan whipped out mech last game. You know, he played bio in game number 1, then he whipped out the mech, you know, he whipped out some cheese. Dolan showing off a lot of variety, a lot of versatility in this series. I'm honestly really impressed. There are a lot of Terran players that approach certain matchups in a very specific way. They don't have that much flexibility, but Dolan, mate, he's all about that. He's as flexible as they get. So honestly, I'm very impressed so far. But I'm also a little bit worried because when you are like that, it does mean sometimes you're a jack of all trades, master of none, you know? You have a lot of variety, but like, you know, is it all refined well enough to go up against someone like Voltz? We shall find out as the Reaper does get across the map once again. The Queen is not out quite yet. It is a little bit delayed. We'll see if he can get a drone kill this time. Oh, what of us? Oh, he does get a drone and he gets out. Wow. Dolan, his Reaper micro just gets better and better game after game. Finally, in game number 4, he does get a drone. He fought hard for that drone. He fought very hard. And he got it. Meanwhile at home, once again, 1-1-1. We'll see if he goes for a Banshee again. We'll see if he goes for a BC again. We've seen his BC play a couple of times this series, so he may be able to whip it out. It's going to be on Voltz regardless to scout whatever opening this is and what units are coming his way, as the Overlord is en route. As at the moment, Voltz, he's just droning up. He's just trying to get into the swing of things. Again, just waiting for the Overlord to go in before he decides what tech he wants to go for. Meanwhile, he's doing this again. Not going for the switch with the add-ons, instead going for a Liberator. He will eventually be switching the factory onto that tech lab to start tank production. Very reminiscent of the game on Romanticide, I believe, which was game number 1. But meanwhile, we do have a lot of queens coming out here for Voltz, and also a lot of lings. Very surprising amount. So Voltz does go in with his Overlord. He scouts the opener. He knows that there aren't any BCs or anything crazy like that coming out. The lings are actually sneaking around the map. We'll see what Voltz is planning for here. Again, a lot of queens. I don't necessarily think he's going to go for a queen push. These are pretty good for defense. Meanwhile, Voltz is actually trying to hide his armory. As I quickly check the vision. Sorry, Dolan. I keep getting the names mixed up. Voltz does scout the armory behind the mineral line in the natural, so Voltz is well aware about this Hellbat push. Can he prepare in time, though? That is the question. He doesn't have a Bailey Nest. He doesn't have a Roach Warren. The lings try to slip in, but the wall is a wall. There aren't any units here, so maybe he can break through the third base, the third CC, and he forces all the Hellions back home, delaying the push. And oh my god, it looks like the third's gonna go down. It does. He does force a cancel. The lings do slip into the natural base. Hellions do come home and they will clean this up, but this does delay any kind of Hellbat push he wanted to go for. At the same time, the Liberator does siege up in the main base. Ooh, almost gets a queen. Does get a decent amount of workers and forces all of them off the mineral line. But it looks like he will he just barely escape? No! He turns around and the Liberator does go down. And of course, as we see with the upgrade on the way, Dolan once again is going for that mech. Oh my god, please don't creep! No, don't get surrounded, puppy, please! Oh my god, he gets surrounded, he morphs into Hellbats, but it's too late. Ay, being too greedy here, diving so deep. And the Hellions do go down. Only 3 Hellbats remain here. 2 Hellbats remain, I should say. Oh god. Voltz this time was on top of his defense, did get us around, forces Dolan to morph into Hellbats, and Voltz survives the aggression. And sure, he lost a lot of lings. It may not have been the most efficient trade, but he kept his mineral line alive, and that's what matters. That's where Voltz struggled a little bit in the previous games. So we see he's taking this a little bit more seriously. Meanwhile, oh my god, Thors are on the way. I just want to quickly check the vision here. It looks like the Spire was not scattered, but mate, why not just go for Thors anyway? Dolan just embracing the mech. Oh god, it's disgusting. As this Marine is very ambitious. I don't know what it was doing out here. It was kind of pushing away one of the Overlords, but it does go down. The rest of the Hellions will avenge that Marine, take out the majority of these lings. Oh. And Dolan should be fine when it comes to defending against the the mutas. Oh my god, he's actually going for a Thor drop. Oh my god. We'll see what this Thor drop can do. Like, Thors can deal a lot of damage. They can focus down queens, they can focus down buildings. It can be really risky. Obviously, if Voltz is saving up for mutas and like throws them out as soon as the Spire finishes, like, mutas are not going to help at all against these Thors. Alright, here we go. Thors are boosting into the main base. They do get immediately spotted by the queens. The lings show up as well. Ah, beautiful reaction here. Lings help so much when it comes to dealing with Thors. Meanwhile, the Thors are actually focusing down the queens, and all 3 queens go down. And both Thors do get saved. Oh my god, they don't want to overstay their welcome though. The medevac! The medevac gets focused down! Oh my god, and that was the high health Thor. At the same time though, blue flame Hellions dive into the third base. That was but a distraction. Those Thors, sure, they killed a couple of queens, but what's important is that they drew the attention of Voltz, and now once again an entire mineral line just evaporates. Ay, 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 Voltz, please, every time. Meanwhile, shout out to Dolan. You know, he's so on point when it comes to these multi-pronged attacks. Whenever he goes for some kind of aggression in one of the bases, he always has something else in store for his opponent. He always tries to go for 2 at a time. 2 pushes at a time. Meanwhile, it looks like this Thor will be dealt with. Yeah, he drops the Thor. Thor goes down. It wasn't the best trade for the Thors, but like for what, 27 workers? Like that was worth it, mate. That was well worth it. Meanwhile, mutas do dive in. They are going to get some worker kills, but the missile darts are here. Okay, Widowmine shot doesn't go off. The mutas do get a snipe on that tank. Oh god, but he's actually, oh god, he's losing a lot of mutas here. Oh my god. 4 mutas go down for a tank? Mate. Mate. Oh god. The mutas, they get dealt with. To be fair, it looks like Voltz isn't committing to the mutas. He didn't invest in any muta upgrades. He's going for Roach Ravager instead, which does make sense. He's just trying to find whatever damage he can with these mutas. Only 4 of them remaining. Oh god, but the Vikings do push them away. Oh my god! They stopped moving. Okay, but Dolan doesn't chase. Instead, the Roach Ravager army is pushing through the center of the map. He wants to find another vulnerable location to push in here. Dolan does have a decent tank line. He is well set up here outside his 3rd base, and oh my god, Voltz, this is not the place to push in. But he does anyway. The Biles are landing on one of the tanks. 1 tank does fall. Oh, but he does lose a handful of Ravagers. Don't know if that was necessarily worth it. To have more roaches on the way. 4th base does get thrown down, but Voltz is still in a really rough place economically. He's actually still down in workers. Again, for those wondering, I know it wasn't brought up, but we are of course using the new 2020 Pro UI for casting, as it is mandatory for DreamHack streams, so it can be a little bit awkward. But yeah, the worker count to Dolan, he's up to 70. Voltz still down on 66. He hasn't caught up yet, and that's crazy to think about. That's disastrous for a Zerg player. Meanwhile, he's just setting up for another push. Mass amount of Ravagers were morphed in. We've got plenty of Lings on the way. He wants to push in, and honestly, this would be a pretty nice angle. There are a lot of tanks, but they're kind of exposed here. Dolan has to be careful. He does not have any vision here whatsoever. It looks like the CC may actually scout for him, as Voltz does back off. Meanwhile, ooh, Liberator in the main base, getting a lot of worker kills. No reaction, Voltz, please! 8 drones go down. At the same time, here comes the main army. Ooh, the tanks do siege, but a little bit late. Again, this is what I was talking about. This angle was opportunity. This is the angle that Voltz wanted to go for. More Biles are landing. Can he break the tank line? It looks like he's pushing on forward. More Biles are trying to focus down those tanks, and they will land. Oh my god, but that Roach Ravager count is being thinned out, and there are more tanks here in the natural. He just can't do it. And the Roach Ravager army just gets cleaned up. He just tried to push through the wall of tanks, and he almost did it, to be fair, but it just barely was not enough. But here's the power of Zerg. He wants to go for another push. Ooh, nice scans, actually. Dolan does spot the army. And I hope he's able to reposition. He needs another sensor tower here, and he knows it. The sensor tower is on the way. He needs to know, he needs to be on point when it comes to his army movements and his army positioning. He cannot be caught off guard again. And Voltz doesn't even try. GG gets called, and I don't blame him. He was down in workers. He invested a lot in that attack. That attack was meant to kill his opponent. He was pseudo all in there, and he opts not to play it out. He's like, I'm not going to waste my time. GG, let's go to the ace match. Here we go. The lobby has been made. Got to make sure we get all the casters in here. We are tied up 2-2, and this game will be decided on Oxide. Meanwhile, I'm actually just watching the replay. Or I'm watching the stream right now since there is a 2-minute delay. I hope you don't mind my casting. Normally I do have a co-caster, and typically I'm more of like an analytical caster, and I'm with someone who does more play-by-play. So sometimes I can stumble a little bit when it comes to, you know, casting engagements, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Typically whenever there's an engagement, I just throw it to Yaku, or throw it to Milk, or throw it to Yoda. As I take a sip of tea. Oh god. As regardless of who wins this game, this is the final game of the series. One of these players will qualify, the other will have to try again in 2 days. As a reminder to everyone, tomorrow is the Latin American qualifier number 1, and the day after is NA qualifier number 2. So back-to-back qualifiers. This will also not be the last broadcast of the day, of the evening of the day, as we will be casting the Chinese qualifiers this afternoon. Afternoon for Australia. It's at a really bad time if you're in the land of the Americas, so I don't blame you if you don't tune in for the Chinese qualifiers. Since it is at a really bad time for North America, it's actually in the early morning for Europe, so Europeans can wake up for it, and of course it's at an ideal time for Asia, Southeast Asia, Oceania. And we will see how this goes. Of course, the Chinese qualifier will be full of, you know, your typical Chinese players: Maxed, Jigua, Top, Jim. I believe Time already got invited, as, again, all these qualifiers, they do have some invites to the next round. But enough of that, here we go. We are in the ace match, people, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide ALE, we have the American Terran. I almost said red. He's green. He's representing himself. It is Dolan. Spam your ducks in the chat. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide ALE, we have the American Zerg player. Some know him as Cicada, others as Idraling, but he is now Voltz. And he's doing it again. I guess it's a map-specific thing, but we have Proxy Rax. Oh, as Voltz does ask for a pause. Maybe he has a bit of an audio bug. Uh-oh. Control S. I don't have referee, so I cannot speak to the players. They cannot see anything that I type, unfortunately. But yeah, apparently Voltz has a bit of an audio bug. Hopefully he can fix it. He may have accidentally pressed... I'm just an observer, but you can do stuff like as I just discussed with BMOF. Oh, interesting. But yes, we may have to recover the game, which is honestly really, like, it's rough. Like, Dolan's proxying right now. Like, yo, he needs the game to go. Okay, it looks like we are going to recover the game. So hopefully when we do recover, that's able to fix up any issues that Voltz is having. Oh, because again, he doesn't want any kind of audio bugs when the game is about to get intense with this proxy. Like, you, you can't have anything distracting you. Oh, just waiting for the players to... Yeah, looks like Re. There we go. I'm rolling with Dolan. Shout out to Misery, by the way, in the chat. Misery was actually competing earlier today in this very same qualifier. Check out Misery's stream. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Misery does stream on Twitch. Could be confusing you with someone else. If so, I apologize. Need more Voltz, please. Oh boy, this is Omega sus. Shout out to Juggernaut Jason in the chat. Omega sus. I mean, I would assume, I would hope that that Voltz isn't the kind of player to check streams right now, because if he did check someone's stream, like, sure, we have a 2-minute delay, but it's been more than 2 minutes. It would, you know, kind of ruin the integrity of the competition if he did do that. Hopefully he doesn't. He's actually letting us know he's restarting his client at the moment to try and fix it, and he actually took a screenshot of the bug and he's sending it to the admin. So, I mean, again, I would hope there's nothing but good intentions here. Never doubted for a second. Shout out to Mogar F and Smash, also competed today. They're all cheering for their boys. Gonna be playing Among Us after this, it looks like. Mate, I swear, mate, I saw Voltz vent. I saw him vent. If you can't tell, I've never played Among Us. That's all I know, mate. Alright, here we go. Game is being recovered. Mangoes. Oh. I haven't had a good mango in a while, mate. Love mangoes. Alright. Here we go. Once again, of course, Dolan, the American Terran here. You know what? Let's just do it for fun. And in the top right, we have the American Blue Zerg. It is Voltz. Oh boy. And Voltz has gone up against this before in this series. This is the problem. This is what I'm worried about. So Voltz is going to most likely scout this, and if you recall, I believe it was in game number 2, could have been game 1, I honestly can't recall, but Voltz did get proxy 2-raxed, and his defense had a lot to be desired. He actually failed horribly. At the end, he was able to hold, but he only had 10 drones left. Like, he barely held, and then he just died to the follow-up. Like, Dolan just kind of had his way with him. Voltz didn't respect the proxy enough. Initially, he sent like 1 drone, then he sent like 2. Okay, now there we go. He's sending all the boys to defend against this proxy rax. This is a much better response. Ooh, immediately, Dolan just abandons his rax. Oh god, and now the drones are looking to try and surround these Marines. Oh god, it would be a shame if the game ended like this. Nice micro there, nice movement by Dolan, able to juke the drones, and he gets a lot of kills here. One of the Marines does get surrounded, the other one almost surrounded as well. But honestly, his kiting has been on point, and already 4 drones have gone down. It looks like, mate, how far can you kite though? You know, he's getting close to the edge of the map here, and the Marine does fall. But you know what? More Marines are on the way, but so are the Lings. And it looks like these Marines will fall. There are Lings here, they're camping the production. Sure, there are 2 SCVs, but it is not going to be enough. There was a lot of lost mining time, and Dolan already knows that the proxy isn't going to end the game. Factory does get thrown down, so he will transition out of this. And we're in a weird place. Dolan is ahead in workers, and Voltz also had a lot of lost mining time. Thankfully, he did keep mining gas, and we do have Link's speed on the way, so, you know, he didn't neglect that at least. Ooh. These Marines are able to break free. Milk isn't even here, and somehow we got food. We did. Oh god. Meanwhile, Lings are flooding across the map, trying to break through. The first Hellion still isn't out yet. It looks like the repair may be enough here on this depot, just barely to keep it alive. Another SCV going to be repairing the other depot here, and there we go. It looks like Dolan will be able to defend, and the Marines show up, and all these Lings should be cleaned up. As they are microed back. One Marine does fall, but here we go. Hellion also comes in, also joins. And Dolan holds. Ling's speed is still a ways off, so there's no real threat with these Lings. The Hellion should be able to push these away. Dolan has to be careful not to go into... Okay, no, that's fine. Voltz actually just splits up all his Lings just to keep as many of them alive as possible. And we are transitioning into a more normal game. I say normal, Voltz is a little bit supply blocked. Oh my god, heavily supply blocked. He has 2 overlords on the way, and right now he just can't get his queen out. Ugh, that's pretty rough, to be honest. He has to spend his money somehow. He throws down a Roach Warren, throws down his 3rd hatchery, and finally, the overlords will pop out. Meanwhile, Dolan is getting set up for his natural expansion. He's got his 2nd CC coming out, got his 111 Tech Lab on the way, so looking to... I was going to say looking to go for Banshee, never mind. Fusion Core is on the way here behind the mineral line. Once again, mate, Dolan, he loves his VCs. He goes for them whenever he can. And this is scary because Voltz is going to have a hard time scouting this, just because of the amount of Marines. As long as they're in position, they can deny this Overlord, and if Voltz doesn't scout this, like, this is going to be disastrous. Oh boy. Especially with his queen production being delayed as much as it was. Would you have the 2nd queen coming out? I mean, he's being safe. Here we go. We have spores on the way, 1 in each base. At the same time, the Hellions do dive in, actually get a decent amount of drone kills. Oh my god, 6 drones going down, losing only 1 Hellion. And it looks like the medevac will escape. Oh my god, he just drops into the natural. A little bit ambitious. As he does lose 1 additional Hellion. But again, this medevac is relatively safe. So hopefully he keeps moving. Oh god, he did stop for a minute there. And he will manage to escape. Meanwhile, the initial Banshee is about to pop out. Voltz has still not gone in for a scout. He did scout the starport earlier, so I mean that could be a bit of a tell. Meanwhile, oh god, roaches are coming across the map. They do get scouted by Dolan, and the Banshee will help so much defending against these roaches, as it does pop out and it actually forces the roaches back. This is really rough for Voltz. I'm sure he wanted to deal some damage with them. How many roaches are going to escape here? 1 of them already falling. Oh god, really rough start. And there's no queens in position to defend either. The queen just now is headed out, and he turns back around with the roaches. 3rd roach. Oh god. 3 roaches have fallen. This is not what's this going to accomplish? Okay, he just got okay, he turns around again. What is happening, Voltz? Please! You're just giving away your roaches for free. Maybe he all army hotkeyed by accident. Maybe he had like hotkeyed, he put them in the wrong control group, but oh god, lost a lot of roaches a little bit needlessly there. Meanwhile, Voltz has still not gone in with that Overlord. The Banshee is now across the map, even getting a worker kill. A couple of worker kills because, you know what, the queens, they all went to the 3rd, and there's no creep connecting the bases. Oh my god, denying all this gas mining. And as all this has been happening, the BC, it's out. God, he teleports across the map. No queen in the main. The queens are trying to catch up to the Banshee. The queens are still off creep. And the BC shows itself here in the main base. Not like this, Voltz. Oh my god. The Banshee takes a lot of damage, finally gets forced away, but this BC is just going ham in the mineral line in the main base. He did teleport across the map, so, you know, he has to be careful with how he maneuvers his BC so he doesn't lose it a little bit needlessly, but he's dealing so much damage here. There isn't even enough energy to transfuse with these queens, but it is enough to push away the BC. Oh my god. The Banshee's still here as well. Oh god, Voltz is just being pulled apart. BC comes back in. The queens, they were pulled away to deal with the Banshee. Voltz just doesn't have enough queens. There we go. One finally pops out in the main, but it's only one. The queen could he just fight the queen. Yamada's it. Maybe unnecessary, but you know what? Regardless, he does kill it. Meanwhile, here come the no! The Hellions come in. There's nothing here. He loses everything, and this is the beginning of the end. This is the end of the end. Medevac goes down. Did nothing. 44 drones, people. 44 drones. Oh my god, Voltz, he only has 30 workers left. Loses an entire mineral line. Well played. Oh god. GG Dolan. He qualifies for the DreamHack Masters NA closed qualifier. Congratulations. Oh god. In style, I guess. He just kind of rolled over Voltz there at the end. Oh god. As I just update the admins. Oh boy. As I just messaged the admins whether there are any matches that are still going on that maybe we can jump into. Oh god. Meanwhile, we just have some people chipping in, you know, kind of faking out a roach push so you can buy some time. I don't know, like, I guess he bought some time so the Banshee wasn't harassing across the map. To be fair, I didn't see if there were spores ready, or what the queen count was really looking like, so maybe it was necessary for him to do so, but mate, he just... oh god, he just fell apart. Also, I wouldn't go as far as to say cheating. I don't think that's necessarily fair when it comes to the game recovery that we saw. Again, it was the only time he did it in the series, and he got proxied in the past as well. So I would give Voltz the benefit of the doubt that he did play that out, and honorably, quote unquote. But yeah, wow, GG, well played. Congratulations, Dolan. And I just got confirmation. It looks like Riser versus Disrespect is the only match still ongoing. Everyone, exclamation mark B in the chat if you want to have a look at the brackets as we just get confirmation. So congratulations. Oh my god, Pure Legacy 3-0'd Starkiller. I did think that Pure Legacy was going to win that series, but I did not expect a 3-0. Again, regardless of who won between Pure Legacy and Ryan, I did think the winner of that series would qualify. Starkiller, not as strong as he once was a couple of years ago. So congratulations, Pure Legacy does qualify alongside Dolan and Trigger, so 2 Terrans and 1 Protoss. Meanwhile, Riser versus Disrespect is still ongoing. I am unsure as to who is casting that series, whether it's Rotterdam or Zombie Grub. Biomorph and I are out of game at the moment, out of series, so hopefully there is someone casting them. I would hate to see them go uncasted. I just checked, Zombie Grub is actually offline, so looks like she's done. Yes. If you do want to tune into that series, Rotterdam is currently casting Riser versus Disrespect, a PVT. Riser is currently up 2-1. I could try and jump into that, but if I wait and Riser wins and he qualifies, then I kind of waited for nothing. So I think we're going to call it here. It's always the worst when you kind of wait and, you know, end up wasting your time, really, and wasting the viewers' time as well. I don't really want to do that. So congratulations to all the players who qualified. Riser is looking really good to maybe qualify as well. Maybe Disrespect can bring it back. Best of luck to the both of them, to the both of those American Protoss and Terran players. Feels bad, man, for Zerg. We didn't have a single Zerg player qualified today, but that's because there are a lot of Zergs that got invited. So the best Zergs are already waiting in the next stage of the qualifiers. Oh boy. But yeah, I hope everyone had a good time. I just got confirmation actually. Riser did 3-1 disrespect. Congratulations, Riser. Another American Protoss player does qualify. Well played. Well deserved. And that is the end of the first qualifier. I said it earlier, tomorrow at this time is the first Latin American qualifier. We will be casting that as well. And the day after is going to be the second North American qualifier. So if you're a fan of Voltz, and if you're a fan of some of these players who didn't make it through, like Voltz, like Starkiller, like Eurystheus, they will have another chance, a final chance to advance on. We will also be casting that on this channel, so if you enjoyed the cast and if you want to hear more of it, then do consider following the channel and following us on social media. You know, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we have a YouTube channel where we upload all of our VODs. And usually I am joined by a co-caster. Give some love to Milk and Cookies. I usually cast with him, and he was scheduled to cast today with me, but he is sick at the moment. He's very sick. That's also why we didn't cast ESL Open Cup Americas yesterday, and that was going to be a longer broadcast, so I didn't try and solo cast it. A bit of a shorter one today, so I decided to go for it. And yeah, I hope everyone had a good time. Again, consider hitting that follow button to tune into more DreamHack. Tonight, I say tonight, in about 10 hours, we will be live with DreamHack China qualifier number 1. So if you're interested in that and you want to tune into more StarCraft, to more DreamHack, to more Chinese players, then you can tune in there. Of course, the big names like Time and XY and I think Jim as well have already been seeded into the next round, so they're not going to be there in the qualifier. But you know, there's still a lot of players there that deserve to be casted, that deserve to be featured, and that are trying their best to qualify for DreamHack. Like, DreamHack is the biggest event for StarCraft players all around the world, so everyone is here, everyone is doing what they can to make it through. So yeah, again, thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate it, and we will see you in around 10 hours. Thank you so much, and I quickly have to check if we can raid someone. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time. Ciao.